After losing the 2024 election, Democrats have now realized, oh, maybe we should stop demonizing this demographic and try to figure out why we're losing their support. I mean, the ultimate kind of question here is, how do we manipulate these suckers into voting for people who hate them? Right? Like, that's ultimately the question that Democrats are asking themselves. So, to that point, they have decided to spend something of the tune of $20 million trying to figure out, why do young men not like the We Hate Young Men party? Especially young white men. Why are young white men voting for the We Hate Young White Men party?
It's a mystery. It's a mystery.
We need to spend $20 million to figure that out.
I would have told them for a cool million.
Well, they did try to court their votes. They hired a bunch of actors that were like all these weird gendered, like odd men that weren't really manly men. And I'm pretty sure had never picked up a hammer in their life and tried to like do them up like they were like tough men. Yeah. Well, I'm a tough man and I'm voting for Kamal.
Here I am sitting on a bench press I probably haven't used in quite some time. I'm man enough to know that a woman's body is her choice. It's like they're going through stuff like this.
Yeah.
Like
well, now she's putting out this. Have all of you guys seen the circle jerk meme?
Oh my God.
From Kamala Harris?
No, I typically don't look that type of stuff up.
Yeah. You don't have to look it up. Her people leaked this thing, and it's like all of these people working together. But if you look close, it's very disturbing.
Okay, so what's even more disturbing, I can't speak on that, but what's even more disturbing is the amount of money the Democrats have blown on trying to figure out why young men don't like them.
Yeah.
So I've got this article, and I want to briefly go through a few points in here, just because, quite frankly, it's actually really funny. Party leaders are holing up in luxury hotel rooms on a strategy codenamed Sam, speaking with American men, a strategic plan to try and convince working class voters to vote their way again, according to a report. It goes on and say, Democrats have blown millions of dollars on efforts to appeal to American men who have turned to President Donald Trump in droves on Election Day in the hopes of winning back the working class, according to a report. So it goes on, they had a code phrase for this report that they spent $20 million on.
Well, wait a second. I want to read something right here specifically. The plan, codenamed Sam, or Speaking with American Man, a strategic plan, promises to use the funds to, quote, study the syntax, language, and content that gains attention and virality in these spaces. As the Times described it, the reports can read like anthropological studies of people from faraway places.
It's like aliens visiting Earth and trying to study humans.
It's like we have subject A, white male, likes Roman history. Study the syntax, language, and content. This is okay. Here's what I find interesting about this. When they're talking about syntax, language, and content, what you're really doing there is you're talking about messaging. You're not
on that point. There's something that I would love your reaction to, and I'm sorry for interjecting.
I was just giving a reaction, but that's all right.
That's true. I need to do better at this. For the audio listeners, Nick and I are really good friends.
I'm pretty sure they're already chiming in saying like they need to stop interrupting each other every time that happens.
No, I'll take the L on that one. That was totally my fault. Here's what it says right here, though. Above all, we must shift from a moralizing tone.
Yeah, tone. Not a moralizing set of policies, not a moralizing ideology, but a moralizing tone. And this is the part where, again, I don't. It is true that a moralizing tone doesn't help. Right? When you tell me that I am the source of all the evil within the country and that the future is female, you have deliberately decided that I don't have a place in the future that you want. Now, you could say that as, you don't have a place in the future I want because you're a horrible, evil, stupid man. Or you could say, hey, I appreciate that in the past you were useful, but in the future, you're just not going to have a place of prominence. Now, one of those has a more moralizing tone than the other, but one of the things that you'll notice is the actual content of the message is essentially the same. And that's what I see from all of these strategies is they want to address tone. They don't really want to address content or substance.
No, I totally agree. And you think that spending $20 million, you would actually get that type of analysis. That here's an idea. Young men view us as the party of the longhouse, the HR department, the party of we hate young men, especially we hate young white men. How about we just stop doing that, and then we might fix the problem? No. It's a messaging problem. No, it's not. It's not a messaging problem. It's a substance problem.
Yeah.
Young men are not idiots. They realize that if you explicitly make it very clear that we hate young men, and that has been the Democratic Party's message my entire lifetime, certainly my entire adult lifetime. Eventually, it might take 1 or 2 cycles, but eventually those young men are going to realize, why am I voting for people who hate me, who don't have my best interests at heart?
Can I say something else took place here that's really important to recognize? Because you're right. This message has been going on for quite some time, but men weren't reacting to it. In fact, you saw a massive swing in millennial male voters to become more liberal than their Gen X predecessors. So arguably, at the same time that the Democrats were trashing men, younger men were going for it. So what changed? Oh, I know what changed. An alternative was offered. An alternative was offered. It wasn't always a good alternative. There's people within the manosphere complaining about what the left has done with respect to masculinity, who I do not agree with on certain fundamental levels. But what we saw is a resurgence of men on the right who were no longer willing to essentially cater to this message, who were no longer willing to go along with it and be like, no, men are supposed to be strong. We're supposed to lead. We're supposed to be physically fit. We don't accept your narrative about us. Oh, by the way, who's the one that fights your wars, fights your fires, polices your streets? Who's the one that builds all these buildings that you like to live in? Yeah, that's us. So we're no longer going to put up with this narrative. And that's when young men went, wait a second, there's an option? There's an option? And they went running the other direction. And I want to make sure people understand this, because this is something that gets missed in this conversation. Because a lot of people on the right are like, well, finally they saw it. No, finally you offered something. Like, do you understand that? If for a while there, what it was is Democrats told men they sucked, and Republicans kind of agreed because they just wanted to appeal to female voters. But then all of a sudden, Republicans woke up one day and be like, you know what? This is not an either or proposition. And it wasn't all Republicans by any stretch of the imagination, but you started to see it within the Trump administration, for one, because say what you want about certain things Trump does or says, or some of the things within his history, nobody thinks the guy's a pansy. Right. And then you started to see other voice within social media that could finally break through all of the content that were saying, no, this is ridiculous. You should be strong. Go lift weights. Go do these other things. Be competent. Don't put up with this narrative about yourself. And so while we're going to spend a lot of time here trashing the way that Democrats and the left and progressives have gone after young men and masculinity, we need to remember that the reason why it was working for so long is because people on the right didn't offer them a viable alternative.
It's even worse than them not offering a viable alternative. Quite frankly, the right, quote unquote, just bought the left's framing on a lot of this, if you think about it, right?
Yes.
They just accepted it.
Correct.
They accepted it as true. Oh, all men are trash. Well, I'm not gonna fight back on that.
Not all men are trash. Some men are trash, but some men are okay. Some men are good. Like, that was the response.
That was the response.